Yes. Merry Christmas early. This is getting earlier and earlier. It's getting a little scary. Before Thanksgiving. Can I get through Thanksgiving and eat and get fat first? Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order at, what time is it, 4:32?
4:32.
4:34. Do we have any public comment during the closed session? Can we get a roll call?
Yes. Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez.
Here.
Councilmember Flores.
Here.
Councilmember Soto.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Escobedo and Mayor Patino. And we do have one public comment card.
Okay. If you can please state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Make sure her mic is on.
We can't hear you.
Okay,
Is it
Nicole.
working now?
Yes,
There we
go
go.
ahead.
So good evening, City Council members. My name is Nicole Bryant, and I am the field representative for SEIU Local 620, representing the hardworking general unit employees of the City of Santa Maria. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight on behalf of our members. We recognize the serious challenge the city faces with the current budget deficit, and we share your commitment as labor partners to finding thoughtful, sustainable solutions that protect fiscal stability and maintain essential services for our community. We are encouraged by the fourth quarter budget report that's being presented tonight, showing the City Council closed the 24-25 fiscal year with more than a $5 million surplus in general and Measure U funds, and that the $8 million in reserves allocated for the same year will remain untouched. These are positive indicators that give us room to work strategically. We applaud the Council for approving the 2025-26 budget with the direction for the administration to return to City Council in the fall to present transparent cost-saving measures. We eagerly awaited those presentations and discussions, yet unfortunately they never occurred. However, the recent proposal from the city for the significant concessions in SEIU employee pay raises serious concerns, not only for the livelihoods of our workforce, but also for the long-term health of the city operations. If concessions are asked of SEIU, where is the comprehensive plan? Where is the transparency that shows the all-hands-on-deck approach to solving this problem? Our members do not understand why cutting employee pay is the first step in addressing the deficit, especially when substantial contracts were approved for 2 other bargaining units earlier this year, at a time when the city had knowledge of the budget challenges ahead. With the current SEIU contract expiration fast approaching, we believe that neither the city nor SEIU has had ample time to make mindful, data-driven decisions. Discussions have occurred of a possible contract extension through the end of the fiscal year, which would allow us to continue negotiations based on more accurate numbers and thoughtful planning. Yet, our members who are among the lowest paid employees in the city are facing medical premium increases of up to $400 per month starting in December. It is not sustainable for them and their families. Due to this, an extension without equity in medical contributions to the city's other bargaining units, and as was also advertised on the rate sheets provided to employees during open enrollment, would be very difficult to achieve. This is about fairness, collaboration, and shared responsibility. SEIU endeavors to work together to protect the city's financial health without sacrificing the well-being of the employees who keep Santa Maria running every day. Thank you for your time and consideration this evening.
I do have a question for you as to the medical. Can you go over that?
What part of it?
So you guys were informed that you would get reimbursement or pay for that, and then
No, so the medical
enrollment period closed?
So the rate sheets that went out to employees indicated a medical city contribution equal to what our current contract offers for the 2026 fiscal year. And that was out during open enrollment. Those are still on the interweb as far as I'm concerned right now. Open enrollment closed without any discussion of that.
When did open enrollment close?
I believe September 15th-ish.
Okay, so you wouldn't have known. Okay,
Yeah, first week of October.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the only speaker we have?
Yes.
Okay, with that, we're going to go into closed session, and we'll be back out
Let me read it really
when we're
quick.
done.
Closed session 3A, conference with labor negotiators pursuant to California Government Code 54957.6, and 3B, public employee performance evaluation pursuant to California Government Code 54957B1.
I would like to note that the interpreter for this evening is Alma Uribe, and if you would like interpretation services, please raise your hand and request a listening device from her. Antes de llamar a la Junta Orden, me gustaría notar que la intérprete para esta noche es la Alma Uribe. Si necesita servicios, ella está sentada atrás. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the City Council meeting of November 18th, 2025. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez.
Here.
Councilmember Flores.
Here.
Councilmember Soto.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Escobedo.
Here.
And Mayor Patino.
Here. City Attorney, Mr. Watson, would you please give the closed session report?
Yes, Madam Mayor. With respect to 3A, instructions were provided to the labor negotiators. With respect to item 3B, the city attorney evaluation was completed. No additional compensation has been provided. And I thank you for the continued opportunity to serve the council.
Thank you. Our next item is a presentation from the Santa Maria Valley Chamber of Commerce, providing an update on their economic development efforts for the periods of April through September. Good evening, Mr. Boyer.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, Mayor, council members. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to update you all on our progress over the last 6 months. First, we're going to start off with a video that kind of summarizes most of our information. Maybe. No sound? Is there
Valley. This year, our Economic Development Department provided direct assistance to over 80 potential new business. Here at the Santa Maria Valley Chamber, our mission is to foster a thriving, inclusive, and resilient community by leveraging resources, strengthening partnerships, and promoting economic vitality. Our work over the past year has been guided by our core values: putting people first, delivering on our promises, and working together to achieve excellence. Let's take a look at our progress. A strong local economy is built on a foundation of support. The Santa Maria Valley Chamber has grown to a membership of 849 businesses with a 90% retention rate, and we continue to help new and existing businesses looking to grow in the Santa Maria Valley. This year, our Economic Development Department provided direct assistance to over 80 potential new businesses and existing local enterprises. Our Hispanic Business Alliance expanded to 220 members, and we provided outreach and assistance to dozens of Hispanic businesses. We continue to support our community's workforce through initiatives like the Next Gen CEO program, which teaches 6th grade students how to start their own businesses. Since the program started, over 200 kids have participated and launched more than 75 businesses. Our Teacher Tours program continues to connect high school teachers with local industries so they can better prepare students for local careers. Our Leadership Santa Maria Valley program is in its 20th year and has graduated over 400 local community leaders. We believe in the power of connection and community. Our events and meetings brought together thousands of people for networking and community engagement. Key events included the annual Strawberry Industry Recognition Dinner, Business Expo, and Annual Awards Gala. Our Housing Summit, State of Education, State of the City, and State of Vandenberg events convened key community leaders to discuss community challenges and opportunities. Santa Maria Valley continues to shine as a destination of choice. Over the past year, our tourism website welcomed more than 257,000 visits and generated over 4,600 hotel referrals, connecting visitors directly with our local hospitality partners. From the Santa Maria Elks Rodeo and West Coast Customs Cruise and Nationals to the Santa Barbara County Fair, our community's signature events have drawn visitors from across the state and beyond, filling hotels, restaurants, and shops, while thousands of visitor guides, brochures, and maps help them discover even more of what makes our valley special. Transient occupancy tax collections from July 2024 through May 2025 reached $3.4 million. While we saw slight shifts compared to last year, the bigger picture tells the real story. Since the formation of the Tourism Marketing District in 2015, TOT is still up an impressive 30% overall. That's proof that our collective efforts, from marketing campaigns to destination development, are paying off, fueling long-term growth and community pride. Together, we're building momentum. The entire Chamber's work, from supporting local businesses and nurturing our future workforce to uniting community leaders and attracting visitors, is making a tangible difference. We are proud of what we've accomplished together and look forward to continuing to shape the future of the Santa Maria Valley.
A few things about this year we updated our mission and our core values. And I added these to the presentation so that they would be in the record. But one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to include more community in our mission because businesses have employees who live in our community, and we want to make sure that we're always looking at our community. Our core values we also updated, and really the main thing in our core values is people are first. And that's why we have people at the top. Everything that we do involves people. So we want to make sure that we prioritize people. The team I have, our leadership team is normally here today, but Molly and I are here. We have 2 people that are out sick today, so you'll hear both of us kind of pitch hitting a little bit, so bear with us. Now I'll just turn this over to Molly, and she'll go over membership and workforce development.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Thank you for having us today. That video we showed, we played at our 100th gala, and it showed our last fiscal year and the impact we've had, and excited to be here to talk a little about the last 6 months. You'll see our membership numbers up there. We continue to grow. We hold a lot of events, a lot of opportunities for the community to engage with one another, build those relationships, and build those connections. I'm going to recap just a few of our larger events we've had over the time frame. April, we had our Strawberry Industry Recognition Dinner. Over 700 people packed the Fair Park for that one, a celebration of our agriculture industry. It was a really great event. Our State of Education was also a huge success, hearing from our leadership at the county and the local level, K-12 education and post-secondary education, understanding issues they're seeing, exciting things on the horizon, and just engaging with the community on what's happening in education. And recently in September, we had our big 100th annual awards gala. Had that at the Jet Center black tie event. I know a number of you were there. It was a lot of fun to celebrate with everyone, get dressed up, and really just celebrate our community. We continue to share this community feedback form with our board, with our chamber committees, and just our membership at large, as a way to encourage them to submit any feedback they have to share with the city, with you all, members of the council. We do, when we get that feedback, include that in a report that gets sent to you guys. And so we continue to keep we have little posters we have that people can quickly access that and fill that out. I'm going to touch a little on our workforce development efforts. We're very actively involved with the Workforce Development Board. We have a few programs that we have run with them over the last 6 months. Last I spoke with you, I had talked about a program we were working on involving justice-involved individuals and connecting them with employment opportunities. That contract wrapped up. That was a countywide contract, and we had 34 individuals placed in jobs, and 13 were placed in paid work experience opportunities. So really nice to see a population that needs that support get the assistance they need. And that was a partnership with the Workforce Development Board and the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber. We also have a program that we're running connecting individuals looking for jobs with careers in STEM and highlighting careers locally in the science, technology, engineering, and math fields. We're holding monthly industry tours to expose members of the Workforce Development Board, their program operators, to jobs available in those industries, skills workers would need, and those sort of things, so people can better understand opportunities we have here locally. You heard our Next Gen CEO program mentioned on the video. That is still going strong. Our spring cohort, we had 20 participants who launched their businesses last May. Our current cohort partnership with the Boys and Girls Club, also working with the ACES After School program, is wrapping up next month, and that is going well. We also have a Next Gen CEO alumni program, so businesses or kids who still continue their businesses are welcome to participate in that. And we're actually holding a holiday pop-up event at the mall for those students next month, which will be a lot of fun. I encourage you to check that out and support the student businesses. It's always really exciting to see the kids who decide to continue on and are really actually very successful in their endeavors. So. Our teacher tours that were also referenced on the video, we wrapped up the last calendar year during this time frame. We partnered with the County Education Office on this program, the high school CTE teachers. We spend 1 day a month taking some of those teachers to 3 different local businesses in the industry that they teach in, so they can better understand what skills employers are looking for to build those connections between education and workforce. And opportunities like internships, teacher externships, apprenticeships have all resulted from this program. So it's been very successful, and we're continuing that program this school year. We just had our first few tours happen. So our Leadership Santa Maria Valley program is also thriving. We had 20 individuals graduate from the 2025 program. They do a legacy project every year that the whole class kind of collaborates on, and their class chose to work with the Santa Maria High School Bicycle Club to help support their lending library they have of bicycles for the students can essentially check out and use as they need. They were really successful in fundraising, and in addition to, they purchased bicycles, helmets, locks, a bike rack, and had an additional $10,000 that they then donated to the high school bicycle program so they could continue to purchase the supplies they would need to keep that program running. And the current class for Leadership Santa Maria Valley started in August. There are 17 members of that class, and that program is going well. We're also having Leadership Santa Maria Valley alumni lunch and learns every quarter. I know our police chief participated in one of those. The community development director, Shannon Dow, recently was a guest speaker in those, and those have been very successful too. And what's ahead? We have a few exciting programs on the horizon. We're partnering with the U.S. Chamber Foundation on a Civics Bee program. This is a essay contest for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And the Santa Maria Valley Chamber has been selected as a regional host site for the Civics Bee. And so students who submit essays, the top 50 or so individuals, will be invited to attend an in-person Civics Bee next spring, where they get to they're given curriculum that they'll get quizzed on. It's kind of like a spelling bee, but for civics. They'll have a few things they have to go through to be placed, and if they place first, second, or third, they get scholarship money and get to advance to state or national competitions. So it's a really exciting program that we're looking forward to being a part of. Also working with the Workforce Development Board on an ecosystem mapping project that is connecting education and industry and wraparound services, making sure everyone's kind of aligned around career pathway development. And we have a countywide event for that next month. And then just internally, we were excited to finish a 5-month-long process to update our CRM platform for our membership so we can provide an updated platform for them to use and more value for our members, streamlined automation things that our organization can use. And we just launched our committee applications for this next calendar year. Happy to take any questions you all have before I invite Michael back up to speak on our tourism efforts.
Any questions from the council?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As I'm sure you all know, our team at the Chamber runs the Tourism Marketing District here in Santa Maria Valley. It's made up of 30-plus hotels with 1,400 rooms or so. The latest reports for TOT is in August. We generated $351,000 this year, as compared to $363,000 from last year. It's about a 3.4% decrease. And right now, from a year-to-date standpoint, we are about 8.5% below last year's TOT numbers. The primary reason for that comes down to our hotel inventory. Right now, we have about 14% of the rooms unavailable because of construction. So when you look at a couple of the hotels right now are being renovated.
That's right.
Like we'll have a new Marriott Delta at the airport coming up this next spring. Half of their rooms aren't available today. So it kind of works out. We plan for about a 10% decrease when it comes to the TOT budgeting this year, but we're beating that a little bit. But I imagine that we'll continue to have a little bit more downturn following, this calendar year. The next one. In the last 6 months, we've had 233,000 visitors to our tourism website, and we've provided 5,700 hotel referrals to our 30 hotel partners. So that's a really good referral rate. Some of the trade shows that are coming up, we go to quite a few trade shows, but this last 6 months we went to the California Central Tourism Council annual event in April. That's all of the tourism, the TBIDs in this region get together to do some learning and get together to share best practices and so on. It just so happens we have 2 of our team members at their fall retreat right now. We're looking ahead to the Ocean West Seasonal Spectacular in December, and we're also going to be going to the show in LA. And those are direct to consumers, really teaching direct consumers what Santa Maria Valley is all about. Our FAM tours, we usually do about 20 FAM tours a year. In the last 6 months, we've done 10. And what FAM tours are is really bringing influencers and journalists here to Santa Maria Valley to have them experience what it's like being here. We take them around to have dinner, stay at hotels, and so on, so that they can familiarize themselves with our area and also feature us in their publications, on their social media platforms, and so on. So these are some of the FAM tours we've had in the last 6 months. I'll move on to economic development. We supported startup efforts for over 30 businesses in the last 6 months. We assisted 45 businesses with various needs, including things like, the process for getting permits through the city and all of these sorts of things. But also, how do you use QuickBooks are questions that we get all the time also. We have almost 6,000 homes in the pipeline. We attended over 200 meetings and events over the last 6 months. Like we were saying in the video, the Hispanic Business Alliance is really growing right now. We had a great event for Cinco de Mayo. We also had a great event just this last month with over 200 attendees in each one of those events. Efren, who drives this program, has been doing a phenomenal job. He's worked with 15 individual businesses and 20 businesses. He's been outreaching to 20 businesses to bring them on board. We're very proud of all of the work he's been doing. He was recently awarded CESLOC's Changemaker Award last month. So we're very proud of Efren's work there. Our Business and Government Roundtable meetings are held every month. Right now, we're going to be changing the location of those because that group is growing. Our Economic Development Commission this year focused on housing, education, space, and healthcare. This next year, we'll have more plans for more themes throughout throughout the year for the EDC. We've been driving advocacy with quite a few letters of support, depending on different state laws, different different local issues also. And these are some of them up on the screen. The downtown revitalization, we were all together when we broke ground over at Mervyn's. We'll be starting, we're very excited about seeing the Perlman project and Alvin Newton Apartments start the development process also. We also added flight service to Phoenix and everywhere in the world from Phoenix. So that's a great achievement. Many of you were with us for that announcement and the inaugural flight. So that was a great PR, and we're continuing to advertise in the market here to drive people to use that service. We need to make sure that everyone flies American out of SMX so that we can keep that flight here. And just a few things that are upcoming. We are working on a manufacturing forum, an economic forecast. We have our first young professionals group meeting this week. So we're really getting out to make sure that we're addressing many of the concerns of the community. Well, it's been a pleasure being with you tonight. We're here to answer any questions that you might have. That's all we have for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boyer. Any questions from the council? I have a couple.
Okay.
So the Marriott at the airport, when do we look at that opening?
Gilda today said it might be as early as April, but they will definitely be open before Memorial Day weekend.
Okay. And so far on the plane, on the flights to Phoenix, how is that going?
I would say we're behind right now, but you will see a huge marketing push from the airport's agency. Their agency is based in New York, and it took them a month or so to get going. But over the next couple of weeks, you're going to see a big advertising push in the market. If you go to the Chamber's marketing properties, you see a big push right now. So we allocated some funds to make sure that we were pulling our weight too.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other question? Thank you very
Thank
much,
you so
Mr.
much.
Boyer. Thank you, Molly. Appreciate it. Okay, the next item is the public comment period. And let's see, I've got 10 speakers. So I have Pam Gates, followed by Cliff Solomon, followed by Jan Rantan-Nair, followed by Danny Mogg. Good evening.
You'll learn about something wonderful. I brought 4 pages, and everybody up front has it. I've got extras if somebody wants them. On January 23rd, Opera Slow, and I'm a board member of San Luis Obispo Opera, we are producing this show at the Clark Center, and it's history, local history. In 1942, during World War II, 120,000 Japanese Americans were put in behind barbed wire. And this is local history. We had high school students at Royal Grande High School. 45% of them didn't get to graduate. About 2-3 weeks before graduation in 1942, they went with their parents and were in the camp. I know a lady that lives here in Santa Maria, 95 years old, that was in the camp. I have a best friend lady that was born in the camp. I'm passionate about this show. It's beautiful. We have 2 big bands, poetry from the camp. They had baseball and dances in the camp. We put on a wonderful show. We did it last January, and it was a sellout immediately. If you go to the Clark Center, you can buy tickets. There are only 600 seats, so you want to get your seat before we run out again. The tickets are only $28, and that doesn't pay for the whole show. So I'm asking for some donations. Donations are tax deductible. You write a check to Opera San Luis Obispo, and you write the word behind barbed wire. We do other productions, so we want the money for this show to go Opera San Luis Obispo on the check, and the memo will be behind barbed wire. Last year, it was a fabulous show. Everybody loved it, but we didn't collect enough donations, so we lost money on it. So I'm here hoping that some businesses maybe have an extra $100. They want to put their logo into the show and the program, and online, if you own a business or you know somebody who has a business, if they write a check for $100 or more, their logo will be in all the, that's my bill. I have to quit.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for your time, and I have an extra one. If you want to come up and write your name and address, I'll send you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pam Gates, followed by Cliff Solomon, followed by Danny Mogg, followed by Terry Zuniga. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Patino and council members. Well, history's repeating itself, isn't it? My name is Pam Gates, and I'm on the leadership team of Indivisible Santa Maria. We don't just do protests. We work as allies with many organizations that serve the residents of our city, and we're a member of 805 Immigrant Coalition and Rapid Response Network. By delaying the formation of an immigration ad hoc committee, the council missed an opportunity to address your constituents' most pressing needs. Councilmember Soto brought forth a viable way to investigate what the city might do to protect its residents in the face of such violent and illegal activity by ICE, Homeland Security, and the Border Patrol. For you to put it off until February is unacceptable. As of November 13th, 1,000 people have been kidnapped by ICE on the Central Coast. Santa Barbara has had 307 kidnappings and over 200 here in Santa Maria. And those are only the ones that are reported, verified by 805 Rapid Response. On Saturday, the Seattle Times had an interesting article, two of them actually. This one had to do with the raid on East Valley Farms last week. A terrifying exhibition of force involving approximately 40 unmarked SUVs and tactical vehicles with flashbangs used without warning on bystanders. The other article, Machado Plaza to host first council bites and brews. The Recreation Services manager was quoted as saying, "Our whole goal is to get people out in the community." Sounds good, but these two events cannot coexist. When people are kidnapped off the streets on their way to get groceries, as happened Sunday, this is not a safe place, and no amount of food trucks and music will make it so. Please reconsider and add the Immigration Ad Hoc Committee to the agenda for your December 16th meeting. None of us involved in this work has the answers, but we get up every morning doing our best to fix a broken system. You were elected to do your best for the residents of Santa Maria. Please step up and make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Cliff Solomon, followed by Danny Mogg, followed by Terry Zuniga.
Good evening, Mayor Patino and council members. My name is Cliff Solomon. I'm with Indivisible, and I'm here today to condemn your inaction in establishing the Immigration Ad Hoc Committee, which would create a platform for you, the City Council, to show the public that you are ready to do something. Councilmember Soto provided an excellent start by answering the question, what can be done, at the October 21st meeting. Now it is time for you to act decisively and move forward. I've been reflecting on this issue and hesitated to speak out since I sent my email dated October 22nd. However, the urgency of the immigration situation in our community is too pressing to remain silent. The events of the past week, where ICE agents targeted local businesses like East Valley Farms, using flash bombs, tear gas, and military vehicles to apprehend people, calls for immediate action. Or consider the incident at Stowell Plaza, where ICE collided with a car carrying a family, shattering a window and arresting the driver. The family had to be taken to a hospital due to injuries from that collision. Your constituents elected you to serve and represent them in the city of Santa Maria. We live in a difficult time when ICE agents have detained over 300 lawful residents. Other Central Coast cities and the county supervisors are taking steps to improve lives despite these challenging circumstances. I urge each of you to consider whether you are helping to alleviate this problem. I believe the ad hoc committee shows a real commitment to addressing the issue. I was disappointed that you chose to take the easy way out and follow the city attorney's advice to delay discussing the ad hoc committee until February. The city of Santa Maria deserves strong leadership, and we need to act now. Your leadership is vital in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Danny Mogg, followed by Terry Zuniga, followed by, I think it's Michelle.
Good evening, Madam Mayor.
Good evening.
and council members. My name is Danny Mogg, for those of you who don't know me. I'm a resident of Santa Maria District 4 and a retired engineer. I happen to be a constituent of Ms. Aguilera Hernandez. I'm here today to lodge a complaint to remind you all of your solemn responsibility to this community. On November 13th, federal agents committed unprovoked acts of violence on our community and abducted at least 15 members of this community, including a pregnant woman and an infant. This unlawful assault on our community on November the 13th, just 5 days ago, was in direct violation of the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, which provides due process for every person, regardless of immigration status. And let me be clear, it's a serious issue because if they can do it to an undocumented person, they can do it to anyone in this room. This action must be viewed as extrajudicial, outside that, in layman's terms, that's outside the rule of law in our judicial system. As I said before, the Fifth Amendment strictly prohibits the arrest of any person, regardless of immigration status, without due process. The action must be viewed as an attack on this peaceful agricultural community, and it is in direct violation of the United States Constitution. I ask you, what will be your response? I'm a veteran of the United States military, and when I voluntarily enlisted on April 7th, 1977, showed up at the recruitment facility in Los Angeles, California, I swore an oath to that Constitution, and that's an oath all public servants pledge. I ask each one of you, if you can honestly say that you're honoring that oath, or are you fulfilling your mission, your stated mission? But that's not the most paramount issue here today. I stand before you to shine a light on the absolute inhumanity of these actions. What the federal government has done is to rendition community members and snatch them from their workplace, disappear them from their loved ones. These are vital community members who give their sweat and blood to feed this city and this nation. And in an act of utter cruelty, they deliver these people to places that they have absolutely no connection with. These illegal actions have removed fathers and mothers and sisters and brothers from their family and from their children. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Terry Zuniga, followed by Michelle, followed by Sophia Estrada Navarro.
Good evening, Mayor
Good evening.
Patino. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I grew up on the northwest side of town and played at Atkinson Park when I was young, raised my kids on the northwest side of town, and they played in Atkinson Park. There was a time when it wasn't safe, and they weren't allowed to go to the park, and the park was a dangerous place, and it wasn't safe, and that's not the case now. And I'm really glad for that because we enjoy the park. I walk my dog through the park twice a day, and it's a great atmosphere. There's always young men and men playing on the basketball field. There's people using the tennis courts, sometimes for skateboarding, but they're still enjoying them. And there's always kids on the playground. So I was walking through the park a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. I'm not sure how long ago now it's been, Alex. But I was walking through the park, and I saw that there was a crosswalk, and there was a hopscotch that some girls were playing on, and they had chalked it on the sidewalk so that they could play on it. So I sent an email to Alex and Dennis and just sent them a picture. I took a picture of it and sent it to them and just said, hey, I wonder if it's possible that we could get a hopscotch here. And lo and behold, I think it was a week later, I was walking through the park and there was a hopscotch there. So I just wanted to really thank the Recreation Parks Department and especially Alex, given that you're getting ready to retire, for their attention to our parks and the community and all that they do to make sure that everybody here has recreational activities to do and clean, safe parks to play and recreate in. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle, I can't read the last name on there. Is that right, Michelle? Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. All right. Good evening, council members. My name is Michelle Ambriz. I'm a policy advocate with CAUSE and a volunteer for the 805 Rapid Response Network. I was here last month urging you all to take action and stand by the immigrant community during these extremely tense and scary times. I, along with dozens of other community members and youth, waited patiently to speak on the agendized item regarding the formation of an ad hoc committee surrounding immigration issues, which was tabled until February of next year. Truly a slap in the face to our community during these times. While you wait to take the most basic of action, ICE performed a high-scale operation on November 13, arresting multiple people, including a pregnant mother and an infant, leaving our community completely shaken and scared. I don't have to go into detail about what we saw because I know that you saw it too. I'm positive that you saw the videos that came from that day. People and responders being flashbanged and being shoved around by these agents. I know that you're also aware of what happened on Sunday, November 16th, outside of that Goodwill, and how you saw ICE agents caused a car collision, endangering the lives of everyone in that area. How much more of this do your community members have to experience before you decide to take action? Last month, Councilmember Escobedo, you told me that you represent all of Santa Maria and not just immigrants. And to that I say that this issue affects us all. In no instance is it justifiable or safe for MRAP vehicles to be used in our community, or for stun grenades to be used on civilians and protesters, or for excessive force to be used during arrests. Sorry. All that was asked of you was to form an immigration ad hoc committee to discuss what can be done. And there was no vote. It was tabled, which is really disappointing. And so other cities in this county have already taken action, and things that they have decided to do are reallocating funds towards immigrant support services. They have filed requests for information with ICE's acting director. They have adopted resolutions condemning aggressive and non-transparent tactics from immigration enforcement. I hope that you're able to follow that lead and take action for your community today, because they need it now more than ever. Thank you.
Thank you. Sophia Estrada Navarro, followed by Rachel Carr. Is Sophia here? Oh.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just, I have a couple questions. I'm just here as a community member, representing myself and my family.
Can you get closer to it?
Oh, sorry. I'm just here as a community member, representing myself and my family. I have a few questions for you guys. Are you guys standing with the immigrant community of Santa Maria? Because, I mean, are you guys going to allow federal officers to come with such excessive force and violence to our community? Is the incarceration of nonviolent offenders really a priority over violent ones? Because I understand the operation that happened on Thursday, big trucks, billions of dollars used for ID fraud. I understand that's an issue, but there is violent criminals out there. Why can't we use that money for actually arresting criminals that are harming the community? I mean, if you guys want to crack down on ID things, maybe going downtown at the local bars might actually be more helpful than spending all what you did on the little farm. And I'm just curious, can we count on the council? Can we count on the council's support as soon as possible? I'm not familiar with the agendas and your guys' things, to be honest. I'm just now starting to get more involved. But I would like to see some involvement from you guys. I hear that it's coming until February. Why is that being postponed for so long? We need something now, guys. You guys are our leaders. You guys represent us. Please, we need action. Thank you for your time. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Rachel Carr, followed by John Sheehan. No, I can't hear you. What did you say?
If you ask that question to her.
Oh, no. No, Rachel Carr? Oh.
Hi, good evening, Mayor Patino and City Council members. My name is Rochelle Carr. I'm a nurse, and last spring I quit my hospital job and learned to speak Spanish so I can work directly with all of my Santa Maria community where I live. I also started volunteering with 805 UndocuFund, and I have witnessed ICE's unwarranted brutality against our community. As a nurse, I have the conscience that drives me to make sure that I have done everything I can do to help my patients. Clearly, not all of you have the same level of accountability. I hope that after hearing about these events of the last week, that you will feel called to exhibit some degree of accountability and show support for all our residents, as Gloria Soto does. We need more funding for our volunteer organization, 805 UndocuFund, to continue to provide resources to families affected by ICE raids and for legal defense of our immigrant community. Many of us who are here have never even voted before, and now we are paying attention to your actions, which will determine our voting choices. And I think for some of you, you will regret the choices that you have made recently. And you will feel shame for your lack of action and preparation. In my practice, I have been with patients as they die, and it makes me think about what matters most in life. What will you be thinking about when you are on your deathbed in hopefully many years, reflecting on your life? And the most important things are not what you can buy. What really matters is whether you are proud of yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. John Sheehan, followed by Virginia Souza.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. John Sheehan. I just want to make a little comment on a new project that's going into the city on the 101-135 Broadway interchange. Plan looks good, except for one little part, which I will object to, where on the east side of the freeway, the interchange connects up to a 2-lane residential road along the riverbank on Seaward. I don't think that's a viable option for the residents of the area, the children that go to Ida Taylor School and that walk every day to Pioneer Valley. It's a little small residential road. It leads to nowhere, really. So I don't think it's a smart idea to connect it up to the freeway interchange. There's no other place in Santa Maria that has 2-lane roads going over it, over the freeway, like Jones, Alvin. There's no interconnection there to those streets. And I don't think there should be one here also.
Thank you. Thank you. Virginia Souza.
Madam Mayor and council people, I wasn't really planning on coming down here and talking tonight, but I thought, gosh, when am I going to speak up? I always enjoy coming and hearing what people have to say. There's so much wisdom in our community. But I have to say I'm a second-generation Santa Marian. All 4 of my grandparents were immigrants. They were all entrepreneurs. They never worked for other people. They had one was a dairyman and one was a plastering contractor. And our community has changed over my lifetime, and it's become a community that's over 80%, I think, of non-white immigrants. And I don't see that recognition coming from this city council. Over a year ago, I joined a committee to study immigration because I didn't know anything about how hard the path to citizenship was, or really didn't know anything about it, didn't know what Dreamers were or any of that. So last November, the city of Pasadena set an example for all the cities in the country, I think. And I sent this letter as a member of this committee to many people, including some leaders in your city council. The city of Pasadena sent a letter just to calm their residents, just to respect their residents. And the letter just said that they were in support of their non-criminal immigrants. And the letter was under the letterhead of the city council and of the school superintendent. So I haven't seen that collaboration in my city, the city that I love, and that's this city. And I'd like to see more collaboration between law enforcement, the school district, and this committee. With Open Streets, the first Open Streets, I walked the West Main Street businesses with a couple friends, and we were taking Open Streets flyers. And I got to know the business owners, and I was so impressed with all the Hispanic entrepreneurs, all the way from Broadway to Blosser. And I walked then again, passing out red cards fairly recently, maybe a year ago, and got to speak to them again. These people are hurting. They're hurting because their customers are afraid to come out and do business. That should be everybody's concern. And the schools, the students aren't attending. That's hurting the bottom line of the schools. So I think everybody should get together and try to calm our very precious community members. Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia. And thank you all for coming to public comment this evening. We will now move on.
Madam Mayor, I do have two written comments that we received from...
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Two written comments received via email by Sue Heitman and Gary Hall, and they are on our website.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, may I
Yes.
make a comment?
Sir?
Thank you. I was there on Thursday at the ice raid that took place in Santa Maria over off of Telephone Road and East Valley Farms. And I saw firsthand the tactics that were used on Santa Marians, and how there was a lack of due process in the enforcement that took place. It was disheartening to see and infuriating to see the flash bombs that were thrown at residents, and it's difficult to be living through these times, and I can't imagine living through them if I didn't have the privilege that I have. And so I want to thank everybody that came and spoke and who was there present. It's devastating to read on the individuals who were detained, including to read about reading about the pregnant woman and the infant child being detained. That is just absolutely heartbreaking. And while I was there, I asked to speak with whomever was in charge, or whoever could give information as to why they were there and what or why their presence was, why they were there, why their presence was there. And I had spoken to city staff, and no one at the city knew that they were going to be conducting this raid. Our police department was not made aware, and no information was given. However, I did get to speak with a PIO who gave me his email address and his contact information and stated that the city could send in a request to get information on the enforcement raid that took place there on Thursday. And so I want to request that we submit an official request to DHS, to this PIO, to receive information as to what took place on Thursday and what took place on Sunday.
Okay, thank you.
On behalf of the city. Does city staff need any further information? I can pass along the contact, including the name and the email address of the PIO.
I have a question. Does the city already know what occurred? Did we get information? Did anybody reach out?
We have not reached out to anybody. We sent out a thing that was on the Department of Homeland Security's webpage today on terms of the event on Thursday. That's it. We have not reached out to anybody to get any details. The chief hasn't had any information from the ICE officers at all. And again, we were not present out there. This did take place out in the county.
That was county?
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the
So
county.
that's not within city limits?
The telephone's not, no.
What?
The one on Thursday was not. Telegraph, that was outside city limits, correct.
So the one that happened on Thursday was within the city limits?
Was
or
not.
Saturday?
Was not in the
Was
city
not.
limits.
Saturday was over by Sumesa. Sunday was over by Sumesa.
Correct.
Okay. So, Mr. Watson, how do we handle this? Because this is not within the city limits.
Well, again, if it's the pleasure of council to gather information, they can direct the city manager to do so. Whether it's jurisdictional or not, you're gathering information, it's up to you.
Okay.
Question with
Yes.
Is the federal government required to let us know when they're going to be doing a raid?
I don't believe so. That I'm aware of. Chief, I have a better understanding with that item.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. Councilmember Escobedo, the federal government is not required to notify local jurisdictions of any enforcement action, nor does any other law enforcement agency. Most agencies, law enforcement agencies, do notify us if there is a significant impact in the city that requires our assistance. Oftentimes, they will give us a heads up on an approximate time that they are going to conduct law enforcement investigations within the city limits, but to my knowledge, there is no legal requirement.
And do we ask for any citizenship requirement when the police department stops somebody to receive services? Is that a question that the city of Santa Maria make?
As you're in regards to our enforcement actions?
Yes.
No, we do not ask for immigration status, nor do we refuse any services for any resident or anyone that contacts the Santa Maria Police Department for assistance.
Okay. And regarding one of the incidents that happened where there was a crash, the police department was present. Can you share with us what was the role that the Santa Maria Police Department played that day?
Yes. Our 911 communications center received a phone call from the cell phone service because there was a crash detection. A lot of modern cell phones have a crash detection device or notification that when someone's involved in a car accident, it notifies the cellular service and they contact the police department, notifying us that a crash was detected. As officers were en route and fire and ambulance were en route to that location, we received a phone call from the Department of Homeland Security, advising them that they were apprehending a suspect. Since we were already on scene, we maintained a presence to make sure that the peace was kept. We had no involvement into the apprehension of the arrest, nor did we take any enforcement action to assist the Department of Homeland Security.
Thank you. And I would like to share, I mean, that's good. And by the way, anything during the November?
Okay, excuse me 1 minute. We're really not, this is
Getting
public
into the-
comment, and then we're really not supposed to be discussing this because it's not been agendized.
Yeah, just a quick question, Madam Mayor.
So-
Was there any involvement with what happened with the exploitation, with the alleged worker exploitation in visa fraud scheme that was during the, what Councilmember Soto mentioned she was part of, presence, sorry. Was there any involvement from the police?
There was none.
No,
You weren't
as
there.
the city manager mentioned, it was in the county jurisdiction. The Santa Maria Police Department was not involved in that operation. I did not receive any phone calls from Sheriff Brown asking for assistance, and I am unsure if the Sheriff's Department responded to assist or not.
Thank you.
Mr. Watson? Oh, I said we are.
You were way beyond the agenda, but
We are way-
you have provided answers to the questions that
Yeah.
were asked. So
Yeah.
I think that an appropriate record's been made.
Will the request for information be sent?
Do I have any,
Does anybody oppose?
well, no, does anyone want it first of all?
But, well, according to this, no action or discussion
No. we're
can
not
be
supposed to
made
have
during this
even a discussion
period.
or action.
Right.
Okay.
So
Maybe at the
if,
end of the council
if
meeting.
city staff
When-
won't submit that request for information, I will as a city council member.
I think we
What-
can, okay.
What can be done, council member? Maybe during the oral report, maybe you can bring it up
Okay.
and we can
Okay,
discuss
Mr.
it.
Escobedo, we will now move to the consent calendar. Does anyone have items they wish to pull for discussion? And
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Madam Clerk, you said you had something that needed to be
Yes,
pulled?
I'm going to pull item 11B1, which is
11B1?
which is the ordinance that was going to adopt the building and fire codes. Due to publication requirements, I need to bring it back on December 2nd agenda.
Okay,
11D1?
11B1.
B1.
Thank
Oh,
you.
B1.
We can just add at the end of the meeting.
Okay. Does anyone have anything they wish to pull from the consent calendar?
You guys can protect agricultural workers because they provide a lot for not only the Santa Maria community, but also the state of California.
Excuse me, ma'am, you are out of order. You are out of order right now.
The justice system is out of order. Can we take a look at this administration?
Does anyone wish to pull anything from the consent calendar?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Escobedo.
Aye.
Councilmember Flores.
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez.
Aye.
Councilmember Soto.
Aye.
Mayor Patino.
Aye. We will now move to the regular business portion of the agenda. The next item is the receiving and filing of the fiscal year 2024-25 fourth quarter financial report.
Good evening, Mayor.
Excuse me, you are out of order. We are conducting business. Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Rebecca Campbell, Director of Finance, here tonight to present the fourth quarter of fiscal year 24-25. So right now, we're in the 25-26 year. We're operating in the 25-26 year, but we just closed the books June 30th, and so we're going to cover the end results tonight. We'll take a look at the economic outlook.
we'll take a look at the general fund and Measure U, and then we'll hit on the enterprise funds, revenue and expenditures. So nationally, gross domestic product, or GDP, was up 3% for the fourth quarter of fiscal year 24-25. Overall, the economy grew 1.25% the first half of the year, which is a slowdown, more than half from the 2 previous years. Unemployment remained low nationwide at 4.1%. However, in California, labor markets have softened, and the unemployment rate rose slightly in June by 0.1% to 5.4% in June. California lost a net of 6,100 jobs, fourth quarter. The unemployment rate in Santa Barbara County was 4.7% compared to 4.3% a year ago. Santa Maria's jobless rate in June was 5.3% compared to 4.8% a year ago. Okay, so this is small, but I'm going to go through it. Here are our end results for general fund and Measure U. Okay. So the table on the slide represents the budget year. It represents the adopted budget, the amended budget, year-end estimates as of February of 2025, and then the actual results and the percent change. Tonight, I'm going to focus on 2 columns, so I'll go through that. So on June 18th, the 2-year cycle was adopted, and the fiscal year 24-25 budget was adopted. There were carryovers from the prior year that amended the budget for fiscal year 24-25. So looking at the second column, highlighted in yellow there, we're going to focus on that first. At the end of so working down the second column, the amended budget showed $10.1 million in fund balance available from the previous year. Revenues were $93.6 million. Budgeted expenditures were $112.1 million. Since the expenditures were higher than the revenues, and there wasn't enough fund balance to cover it, we anticipated using $8.3 million in one-time reserve funds to balance the budget. That was going to come $5.2 million from our local economic augmentation fund and $3.2 million from our pension reserve fund. So now we're going to focus on the fourth column, the actuals, where we came in. So revenues came in slightly higher at $98.4 million. That's $4.8 million more. Expenses came in lower at $103.2 million, or $8.9 million less. Year-end results were favorable and have had an impact on fund balance by reducing the budget draws. We didn't need to take the reserves that we had planned for. Looking at the revenues for the actuals, the sales taxes came in $1.8 million less. Transient occupancy taxes came in $500,000 less. But property taxes came in higher at $1.5 million higher. We knew we would have, and we planned for having reduced expenses. When you adopted the budget, you gave the direction to have a hiring chill and to work on savings. So we knew our expenses would come in less. We were also able to reduce the draw from general fund to the library because the library had a fund balance. So that won't repeat next year. So that was a one-time $2.1 million almost in less funding. So expenditure savings, most of it came from salary savings because departments were holding their positions vacant. That was about $5.8 million. We had some savings in contractual services, but we may have some carryovers for unfinished projects that we'll bring in Q1. We had, as I said, the library, $2.1 million in reduced expenses there because we were able to draw from their fund balance and they had vacancies as well. Okay, this chart compares the fourth quarter of general fund revenues compared to the prior year. The green is the 24-25 fiscal year, and the blue represents the 23-24 fiscal year. So overall, we're up from last year at this time. Operating revenues were up by 5.6 million, or 6.7%. Transfers in were up by 70,000. Operating expenses were up by 9.6 million, or 11%. Transfers out were up by 1.6 million. So the chart shows that from quarter 4 of the previous year that the city's expenses are growing at a faster rate than its revenues. Looking at sales tax is the largest revenue stream for the city. Sales tax came in at 30.8 million, down 1.1 million from last year. Spending is down because of the economy and uncertainty. But sales tax came in 1.8 million less than what was budgeted. Looking at sales tax by month, receipts through the fourth quarter are 3.3%, or 1.1 million less than last year. Going to discuss expenditure variances. So as I had stated, staffing was under budget in expenses, approximately $5.8 million, or 8%. Nearly all departments are holding vacancies, but majority of savings came from the police and fire departments. Contracts, as stated, was under budget by 8.8%, or $1.1 million. We do know that there will be some contracts that will roll forward and be requested to reappropriate in quarter 1. Materials and supplies was over budget by 5.7%, or $255,000. This was due to the increase in watering for rec and parks as a result of the requirements under Senate Bill 1383. The department has taken action to reduce watering, but that is going to take time, and so there's been some replanting, and some irrigation has been shut off, but some of those replantings will still require watering and ongoing irrigation. Transfers out were under budget by 25%, or $2.13 million. And the general fund subsidy, like I had talked about, to the library, that's why that's down. Okay. So this chart shows the departmental results. Overall, department spending was down by $8.9 million, mostly related to the departments holding vacancies. So if you look down the list, police, 2.2 million, fire, 2.1 million. Rec and Parks did go over budget slightly, as I had discussed. The expenses, they did hold vacancies, but they did have costs related to watering. City Manager's Office, almost down by $1 million. Public Works, $418,000. Community Development, $650,000. Finance Department, $332,000. City Attorney's Office, $163,000. Mayor and Council, down by $1,100. Transfers, this represents the library, down by $2.1 million. So most of that represents savings in staffing and the transfer out to the library. This just shows a depiction of budget versus actual costs for expenditures by department. So breaking down Measure U. For Measure U, the funding comes in monthly, and we ended up at 97.1%, or $25.9 million received at the end of the year for Measure U funds. Expenditures were at 96.4%, and some of that was related to contract services. Costs did not come in until later in the year. especially related to the regional dispatch, which started service in the fourth quarter of 2025. Okay, so we did, based on actuals, we did update our reserve balances. And so that's what's shown here for the general fund. So I'll walk through the slide. The chart on the top is fiscal year 24-25, and then we carried that through the update through fiscal year 25-26. So for fiscal year 24-25, actual results had a positive variance on fund balance. Revenues were 4.8 million, and expenditures were 8.9, less than budgeted, therefore resulting in 13.7 positive variance for general fund. As a result, we did not need to use the 3.2 reserve we had planned for in unfunded pension benefit reserve or the 5.1 from the local economic augmentation fund reserve. So those funds remained in the reserves. The reserve for unfunded pensions will remain at $13.1 million at the end, and LEAF will remain at 23.1 at the end of fiscal year 24-25. So now carrying that through, overall for fiscal year 24-25, we're going from 49.3 million to a balance of 44.5 million for general fund reserves. Looking ahead in the current year, where that leaves us, for fiscal year 25-26, we're going from 44.5 million to a balance of 39 million. So just to review that, if we go to the second chart, because we're in the current year, we were able to use the balance and not take from unfunded pension benefits. So that leaves 19.8 in your economic stabilization or your emergency reserve. It keeps the 6.2 for your other post-employment benefits or your OPEB reserve. And the unfunded pension benefit reserve remains at 12.9 million.
Where is this chart in the report? Because I was unable to find it.
It's not in the report,
Oh, okay.
but if you'd like
That'd be great.
Mhm. Okay, so Measure U fund here, this didn't change very much so because the expenditures are outpacing the revenues for Measure U. So we are using all of its fund balances in both fiscal years. And taking a look at LEAF, based on the results, for fiscal year 24-25, that remains at 23.1, untouched. But going forward, based on the results, we're going from 23.1 million to a balance of 5.6. Whoops. Excuse me. We're going from 23 million to 620,000. Excuse me about that. So we're nearly emptying out the reserve again for the budgeted costs in fiscal year 25-26. And where that went to for 25-26, 14.4 million was used to balance the general fund, 4.3 million was used to balance Measure U fund, and 3.5 million was used to balance the capital projects, thereby almost depleting the reserves. Okay, so this, we call it the wedge, kind of a shape there, but this represents our forecasted gap. So we updated the numbers on this chart for fiscal year 24-25. So you can see the green line represents revenues, the red line, dotted line represents expenses. So you can see for fiscal year 24-25, before that our revenues were higher, but it's getting closer and closer. And we have projected costs that are increasing for the budget. So closing the 24-25 fiscal year, we are put in a better position to keep funding in the reserves. We anticipated ending the year, and we had planned for that, to end the year more favorable than budgeted, especially because departments are holding positions vacant due to our structural deficit. However, We are still using $24.5 million in one-time money to balance the fiscal year 25-26 budget. We know out of that $24.5 million, we will have approximately $8.5 million in vacancy savings due to departments continuing to hold the positions vacant. So if you take the 8.5 off of the 24 that we're using in one-time funds, that remains $16.6 million in one-time funds that are being used for funded ongoing operations in fiscal year 24-25.
16.8.
16.6. In preparing for what's ahead, we are still targeting $25.1 million for the general fund Measure U reductions. The reason for this is because we know we will enter fiscal year 26-27, $16.6 million in the hole. That money's going to be used. We also know that the city will face operational costs. We know right now that the city has upcoming obligations that are not currently budgeted, and some of those include, from the last city's bargaining cycle, the city is obligated for increases for fire that equate to over $800,000 in fiscal year 26-27. Increases for police that include in their contract increased step range and equity adjustments the city's obligated for. Depending where costs are negotiated, the city we received our rates on health insurance, and there's a 10% increase in costs, so that just remains to be seen. The city will have pension increases. Depending on the plan, our costs are going up 1 to 3% on pension. We're working on the fiscal year 26-27 rates for general liability and workers' comp health insurance. And right now it's very fluid and we're working at different rates, but we're looking at approximately $4 million increase in costs. I also anticipate that the city's obligation towards other post-employment benefit rate will increase based on recent increased obligation towards health plans. And then there's other costs in technology increases that we're aware of. So the $13.1 million remaining in the reserves, mostly in the pension reserve, should help us weather those costs slightly, but we'll need to make reductions because we are in a deficit now. Moving on to the enterprise funds. So the enterprise funds represent the utility department and transit division of public works, and they're called enterprise funds because they're funded, they're set up for services funded by user fees. That's why they're called enterprise funds. Revenues increased 3.5% or $2.1 million compared to the prior year, due to higher sewer service charges and revenues generated through sales of metered water. Water and wastewater operation expenses are under budget by 64.9% due to personnel savings from vacant positions and timing of maintenance and contractual services agreements. Solid waste revenues were $36.5 million, or 102% of budget. Operating expenditures are at $31.9 million, or 86.1% of budget. Again, attributed to personnel savings from vacant positions. Taking a look at transit, fare revenue is $683,000, which is about $57,000 more than last fiscal year. And the fare box ratio is 8.3% based on fares received and operating expenses recorded to date. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation, and thank you. And I'm here, and I also
Any questions from the council?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Soto?
I just want to make sure that I understand the numbers as they were presented. Are we saying that instead of drawing down 10 to 18 million as planned from our reserves, we're only drawing down 4.7 million? And the remainder of the funds that are not being used to cover the remaining funds that we're not drawing down are going to be used to cover the deficit in next year? I'm looking at.
Yep, I
Okay,
follow, yeah.
The general fund. Yeah, okay.
I can go back to that. Yes. So at the top, fiscal year 24-25, we're using the unassigned fund balance of 2.3 million. And 2.4 million of that unassigned balance is being dedicated to carryovers. And so that leaves that leaves a balance of 44.5, and that will be carried over into, that'll remain in the reserve for fiscal year 25-26. So if you go to the bottom of the chart,
right,
then we're using our unassigned fund balance, and we're using a small portion of the unfunded pension reserve to balance 25-26.
Right. And it looks like a reason for why we're ending with these numbers or with these projections is because of revenues coming in higher than anticipated, primarily in property tax and license permits and fees. Is that correct? And one-time salary savings?
Yes, we ended in a more favorable position in fiscal year 24-25 for those reasons, yes.
Okay. And so I'm curious, I know that when you were going over just some of the, like, I don't know if this is the right term to use, but like positive variances, primarily in the licenses, permits, and fees, are we expecting those revenues to continue to go up throughout the years? Or are those like, I guess that's my question, like, can we anticipate for there to be continuous growth when it comes to those essentially developmental or development fees? Or, yeah, development fees. Or is this like, yeah, because we budgeted less than what actually came in, and so I'm curious to know, like, why?
Well, for fees, we do have a fee schedule, and it depends on activity. And so for development fees as well, we have rates, and it depends on development activity. So, Director Dow.
Yes, I'm happy to speak a bit to that. A substantial amount in the fee section was from building permits. So we have had, last year was a historic high for the city of Santa Maria in building permit revenue because of the way the real estate market is going. As we all know, the real estate market can be fickle, so we can't guarantee that that's going to be sustained growth. However, we are on track this year to meet and potentially even exceed that historic high. So we do see stability going forward because we have so many that have gone through entitlement and are now ready for the permitting phase. So that should continue and be stable. I wouldn't necessarily count on it continuing to increase, though.
Okay, so if that's the case, will we be using those numbers for future budgets? Okay. Okay, and then I know that you said that this is because of increase in building permits. Is that because of the ADUs that are being? Is that large in part ADUs?
That is a substantial amount of our permit volume. The fees they pay are lower, clearly in volume, than the 150 unit Perlman that'll be coming in soon, than the Fallas that was recently permitted. Those are much bigger dollar amounts. However, there is a substantial amount of fee revenue in the ADUs too.
Okay, thank you. My other questions are around the staffing levels. I see that a significant amount of savings came from vacant positions, and so I'm curious how many of the positions have been vacant for more than one fiscal year in the two departments that we see like the highest cost or savings costs, and primarily in police.
Councilmember Soto, I don't have that number today, but I can bring that number back to you.
Okay. And then, I know that you also touched on increased costs that we can expect the city to have to budget out for, such as general liability insurance and workers' comp. My question to that is, aside from the standard annual increases that we're all seeing, are there any other reasons for the increases?
Madam Mayor, Councilmember Soto, we are seeing from the risk pool side substantial increases due to what we call nuclear verdicts, which in the past history would be in the $1 to $2 million range. We're now seeing police issues in $10 to $20 million verdicts. So a substantial amount of verdicts across the pools, particularly for police and fire. The other thing is with respect to long-term work comp costs. When you have an injury early in career, it actually follows the entire career. And so we have to basically prepare reserves for that entire career, even if an employee is a 23-year-old. And so some of those reserves then carry into your modifications on your work comp rates, and they become substantial increases across the board. But between the catastrophic elements that we've had in the state of California within the last 5 years, plus the increases in jury verdicts are really pushing the liability particularly high.
Can you explain the risk pool?
Okay, risk pool, the city does not utilize standard insurance like you buy for your home. We don't buy an insurance policy from Travelers. We work with other like jurisdictional agencies, larger cities, and we pool our risk almost as a collective. And then we share those risk pools, and that gives us an opportunity to have higher dollar values to protect the city at lower premium costs.
Is there anything that we can do to mitigate, or not mitigate, but get a better grade in our risk pool?
We are
Is that a
looking
thing?
to reduce costs, but again, the risk pool is for all cities. The best way to eliminate high risks is to eliminate police departments or eliminate fire departments and contract those out. But the difficulty with that is those costs are still built into whatever service. As long as we are a full service city, the difficulty is we share the risk of being a full service city. We are looking at increasing our self-insured retention, which is like a deductible. But the difficulty with that is then the city absorbs the first dollar of every defense up to whatever that maximum dollar is. It might be $500,000, which would mean that the city would have to then, instead of paying it into a premium, we would have to reserve that against risks that we would have for trips and falls or car accidents. And we are not believe there is a substantial savings, but we're looking everywhere, including in the couch for quarters. So we're looking at that.
Yeah, and I think on that note of like looking for quarters in the couch or quarters in the couch, I guess that's what I'm getting at. Is there anything that we can do to like perhaps increase training or mitigate or lessen the potential slips and falls? I don't know, to lower claims.
We do substantial training on vehicles, which is a particular issue. But as we know, vehicle incidents are not generally the fault of the driver. Sometimes we do have some rather difficult drivers here in the city of Santa Maria. And we do what we can do to mitigate, but you can't unfortunately train around a car accident while you're providing police services.
Right, thank you. And my other question is that I saw, and I don't know if I misunderstood, but I thought I saw public works expenses under the general fund. Oh, no, you know what? I'm confusing it with enterprise. Never mind.
That's okay. They have
Those
a
are all
mix.
my questions.
They have a mix of
Okay.
both.
Mr. Escobedo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This after this presentation, when would be the next time that we can actually make decisions on changes that can be done? And also, when will we receive an update on how things are going with the committee, the budget committee that was created? And yeah, those would be my two out of, I had an extra one, but I will save it after the answers.
We were planning to be here today, but it is taking more time to go through this structural deficit issue. We're working with all the departments on this. We're working with a lot of folks trying to address this structural deficit issue. We do plan to return on January 20th with some action items related to get ahead of this. And so that's the plan, is to come back January 20th. We're also trying to return with a quarter one update on January 20th.
And my third question would be, are we still almost $25 million in deficits?
Are we in a deficit?
Yeah.
Yes, we are in a structural deficit.
And that's, that's the reason why I asked this. We know the answer to that question, is that for almost years, already can say it, we've been refusing to acknowledge, like not just by the words, but the actions and the way that we've been making votes. I told you so. I wish I would never had said those words in this council, and it took 4 years approximately when I first started talking about that, and we started spending our money, our savings. We talk about the savings, and I know that you guys are new. This is something that goes up to us, the council. And actually, I put aside, I don't blame Councilmember Flores on that one but yeah, no, definitely, it's just something that it has been said before that, okay, we have savings and we use our savings to fix this, but it took us years to really get to this point. And I know that I'm rushing you guys, that I've been pushing and I've been asking you guys again and again, but I think that the best way to really support community is by taking care of their money. And because that money comes from all sort of residents in Santa Maria. So I'm looking forward to get that work on and actually put aside, tomorrow I'll be talking about the Banhai show, and it's, what can I say? Yeah, we're still in deficit. We're still talking. I've been saying that a couple of times already this year, and I particularly want to get things done and address this, which would be, from my perspective, the highest priority for the city of Santa Maria. So just want to express what the last couple of years I've been saying no to budgets, because they have not addressed this, for me, the most important concern, and that it's people's money, that is the viability of our community. Thank you.
Councilmember Flores, do you have any questions? Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez. I wanted to know, where are we losing the jobs? What areas in the city of Santa Maria?
Didn't the city experience job growth during this last quarter? Or the
So Human Resources did come here, I believe it was in May. We can get back to you on the date, but they did present the AB 2561 report, which was the vacancy report. So we can pull that and reshare it.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, you meant for the in the city? Oh.
Yeah. I think that's all. Any other questions?
I do.
Okay, Ms. Soto?
I noticed that, as was mentioned in your report, that sales tax revenue went down. And so I'm curious as to how that may impact the 25-26 budget. And if we're going to see changes to that budget?
We pay close attention to sales tax because it's our largest revenue stream. And so we have seen it declining. And so we meet quarterly to talk about sales tax and any changes in the city. We work with HDL consultants to help us with that. So we will be paying attention, and we'll update the rates on how everything is happening current time.
I think that's good to know as we make decisions as a body, elected body, for how we want to generate revenue.
Okay, thank you very much for
Thank
the
you.
report. We'll now move on to, we'll receive and file that report. So we'll now hear a report from the city manager, David Rollins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Just a couple items for our next city council meeting coming up on, I believe it's December 2nd. We'll have a resolution bringing back the meeting calendar for city council for 2026 for your boards and commissions and committees. We'll also have the annual fire inspection report. And then we have two items that are positive but sad at the same time. We'll have a retirement resolution for Mark Vandekamp, and we'll also have a retirement resolution for Mr. Alex Posada. And so we have some things planned that night for everybody. And so hopefully you have a big crowd, a lot of dedicated service there between the two individuals. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. So we'll get the oral reports of council members. And officers. Anyway, where do you want to start? Want to start, Ms. Soto?
I attended the special meeting that took place on Thursday, November 13th with Planning Commission. It was a city session for the general plan update. And that is pretty much most of it until we circle back to the conversation we were having earlier.
And Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez?
I attended the joint study session on the 13th. On the 14th, I attended the REACH roundtable at AT Still. On the 14th, which was also Friday, I attended the big show that is put on by Pioneer Santa Maria High for folkloric dancers. And I also attended a 4-H meeting. And I also attended the Econ Alliance Board meeting, as well as a meeting regarding developer impact fees on the 10th.
Thank you. Mr. Escobedo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On November 13, I had the pleasure to present some recognitions to the second anniversary of Corazon Latino. It's a nonprofit that serves Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo counties. And on the 14th, I attended the big show put together by the Gabaldons, and it was a lot of fun. Both are involved, and by the way, Gabaldon's daughter, she sings incredible. Actually, it's my favorite part of the show. It's my third time that I attended, and there's something new, and they put a lot of effort, and I want to give a shout out to everybody who participated. Thank you.
Thank you. He certainly has left a legacy in this community. Yes, Councilmember Flores.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended the Veterans Day Freedom Monument. I also attended the joint session. I also attended the Communified Board of Directors meeting. I did Serve Santa Maria there at Home Depot. And then today I attended the Homelessness Veterans Luncheon with New Beginnings.
Thank you. November 5th, I attended the Planning Commission. On the 6th, I attended the California Coastal Commission meeting. I testified virtually. And then I attended the Celebrate Philanthropy Luncheon. On the 10th, I did the Serve Santa Maria. And this was the lumber that was donated by Home Depot. And I know Councilmember Flores and her husband were there. And we made over 100 beds. They expected around 200 people, and there was over 500 people in attendance. And I know our chief of police was there, our fire chief was there, and our city manager. And we had other people from the city, and I can't remember all of them, but several of our police officers were there, and they brought their kids. And I know Mr. Belcorta, who works at the police department in the IT, brought his 2 kids, I think probably 8 and 10 years old. So they learned how to use a screwdriver, electric screwdriver, and the sander. I attended my Mayor's Youth Task Force at Santa Maria High and at Pioneer High School. And that evening, attended the Senior Club dinner at Muscle Center. On the 11th, I attended the annual Veterans Day Freedom Monument ceremony. And that evening, I attended the Recreation and Parks Commission meeting. On the 12th, I attended the North County Subregional Planning Committee. On the 14th, the Special City Council Planning Commission study session. Those 2 study sessions we've had have been, I think, very, very productive for all of us and for the Planning Commission. And attended the REACH Regional Economic Roundtable at AT Stills. And ladies and gentlemen.
I forgot to mention.
Oh, yes.
I really enjoyed the Veterans Freedom event. That was really nice to see all the veterans come out, and they were so
Very
grateful.
nice.
I was surprised that there weren't more of them, but I think it was because it was at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, so probably some of them had to go to work. And I also forgot to mention that I attended the Bellcrest Grand Opening, which is a great project for seniors, where seniors who live in a big home that they own can now sell their home and downsize and be in an active community, which is a big need that we have for senior housing in this, in Santa Maria as well. It was also really good to go to the Celebrate Philanthropy and really see how much the nonprofits do for the community in bridging the gap for a lot of people.
Right.
So anyway, I was really impressed, like I said, with the Veterans Memorial event or Veterans Day event. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes tonight's meeting.
Madam Mayor, are we going to circle back to the conversation we were having earlier?
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to make sure that staff has the information that they need as to whether or not they have direction or not to submit a letter, a request for information to DHS on behalf of the city of Santa Maria.
So I think you can make a motion.
Does that need a motion?
Technically, it's not agendized, so the question would be, is there a consensus of majority of council to do so?
Right, but do we need a motion for consensus?
Well,
What do you
technically,
need?
I think if there's a sufficient amount of
Yeah.
consideration that you guys all say you'd like to do it, technically, it's not an agenda. It's not agendized, so you wouldn't take a motion because it wouldn't be binding. But you have one council member who's asked for a request. If there's multiple more of you that want such a thing.
Is this like a public records request?
It's essentially a request to DHS, to this particular PIO to get a report out on the events that occurred this past week and weekend.
But they posted on their website.
I think it'd still be value for us to submit an official request, given that they are not answering or informing the city of any enforcement activities that they're doing.
But that did not occur in the city limits.
One of them did.
One of them
Well,
did.
one of them did. Okay.
So I would agree, at least for this council member, that if another agency is going to come into our community, we would like to get some information that somebody is coming in. I would also expect that agency to follow the state laws and not wear masks and follow the local rules that we have in the state rules. And so for me, I would like to get some information as to what occurred at the event that occurred within the city limits.
Okay, they already do this. I mean, they've been doing this for years. So
They've been doing what?
they come into our city. They have picked up people that they have warrants for. They have picked up people that they have deportation orders for.
But they
so they've
also
been doing this for a long time.
But they also picked up people who they didn't have warrants for.
Well, I understand that, but you're asking for something that they already do. So we have to get reports from these agencies.
Who gets those reports? That was my question, because Dave said he doesn't have any information.
We don't get those reports.
We don't. So we
No.
would be requesting a report on the recent enforcement activities that they had in the city of Santa Maria this past week.
Okay.
It's a request for information.
So I guess we can do that.
No, well, my
ahead.
point is that what I mentioned by Councilmember Hernandez is that they don't have to. They don't have to follow the state or local. They're gonna do whatever they want to do, and you're a lawyer. I mean, you should know that
Right,
better.
which is why I'm saying that.
And they can decide or not to wear the mask, even if the state of California requires them to do it. So that's part of their attributions. If you guys would like to request information of what happened, the details, I mean, I think that's a fair request. Let's go and send a request, but I assure you that they're coming, and
They're what?
they're coming. I mean, they're gonna be here. The sheriff move around different areas. They're not like telling the Santa Maria Police Department everything that they're doing all the time. The highway patrol is not telling what everybody is doing. It's not that everybody will know what everybody is doing at every moment. I understand what you want. I said, if you want to send a letter and request information about what happened, I think that's a fair request. I would support that.
At this point, there's a consensus then?
Okay.
I don't think,
Okay.
well, I think that is not correct with the sheriff's department. I
Okay.
believe that if the sheriff's department were going to have a raid, they would have called Santa Maria PD and given them a heads up. I believe there is communication with the sheriff's department.
And it is imperative for us to know
You're using
when.
the word raid when they pick up one person.
They didn't pick
so-
up one person,
No,
no.
in Santa Maria?
Yes.
Okay. So
Well,
I think there's
community
all
members.
kinds of different.
Well, and I think that's why it's important to just get the information
Okay.
as to what occurred.
Okay, so we have a consensus. Okay, very good. So ladies and gentlemen, this concludes tonight's meeting, and have a wonderful night.